Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into an extraordinary story, one of struggle, resilience, and ultimate triumph. Imagine defying the odds, rising from the impossible, and rewriting history with nothing but sheer determination. That's exactly what we're about to uncover. Stay with us, because by the end of this, you'll see the world and your own potential completely differently. But before we begin, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible stories that inspire and empower. Let's get started. The rain poured heavily over Chicago that night, yet the streets were alive with anticipation. Millions of people huddled together, eyes glued to the giant screen, waiting for the moment history would change forever. A young boy from Hawaii, a dreamer with no wealth, no connections, and a name that many once struggled to pronounce, was now moments away from stepping onto the biggest stage in the world. But how did he get here? How did Barack Obama defy all odds to become the most powerful man on earth? This is his untold story. Long before the bright lights of Washington, before the world recognized his name, Barack was just a boy with big dreams. The scent of the ocean filled the air as he sat on the shores of Honolulu, staring at the vast horizon, wondering about his place in the world. His mother, Anne Dunham, a woman of intelligence and boundless optimism, often knelt beside him, gently running her fingers through his hair. "The world isn't just what you see, Barack," she whispered one evening as the sun melted into the Pacific. "It's what you make it." Barack didn't know what she meant at the time, but those words never left him. His early years were a blur of constant change. From Hawaii to Indonesia, from one culture to another, Barack was always the outsider. In Jakarta, he walked through bustling markets where the scent of spices filled the air, weaving through the chaotic traffic of motorbikes and rickshaws. But amidst the beauty of a foreign land, he also saw something that troubled him: poverty, inequality, suffering. He watched children his age barefoot on the streets, begging for food. He listened to their stories, their struggles, their dreams. It was here that the questions first took root in his mind. Why do some people suffer while others thrive? Why do some voices go unheard while others command the world? These questions would shape the man he was destined to become. Returning to America, Barack's struggles only grew. In school, he was different. His name alone was enough to make heads turn. Teachers hesitated before calling him in class. Some classmates found amusement in mispronouncing it. Others simply asked, "Where are you from?" He was a child caught between two worlds, too black for some, too white for others. He often sat alone, observing, learning, feeling like a puzzle piece that didn't quite fit. But instead of resentment, Barack developed something far more powerful: curiosity. He spent hours buried in books: Lincoln, Kennedy, Martin Luther King Jr. He studied their words, their ideals, their visions. They had shaped history with nothing more than the power of their voice. Could he do the same? Years later, Barack found himself at Harvard, standing in a world of intellect and ambition. He no longer felt like the invisible boy in the classroom. Here, his voice mattered. Professors were captivated by his arguments, students gathered around him in discussions, and mentors saw a leader in the making. But his defining moment didn't come in a lecture hall. It came in the streets of Chicago. One evening, Barack found himself standing in the midst of a struggling community. Factories were shutting down, families were losing their homes, and hope was fading. He met an elderly man with calloused hands, sitting outside his closed-down workplace. "Nobody listens to us, son," the man said, his voice weary. "No one is coming to save us. If we want change, we have to make it ourselves." Something clicked inside Barack that night. He realized he didn't just want to study change, he wanted to create it. From that moment, he poured himself into community organizing, fighting for the unheard voices. He listened, he spoke, he fought. People began to believe in him, and more importantly, he began to believe in himself. It was 2004, the Democratic National Convention. Barack, now a senator from Illinois, stepped onto the stage. The world didn't know his name. To many, he was just another politician. But when he spoke, the world stopped. There is not a black America and a white America, Latino America and an Asian America. There is the United States of America. The crowd erupted. The words weren't just powerful. They were a movement. People saw something in Barack that they had longed for, hope. From that night forward, his journey took on a momentum of its own. 4 years later, he was running for the highest office in the land. But it was never easy. His opponents laughed, saying a man with his background could never win. The media questioned his experience. The skeptics whispered, "Is America ready for this?" But Barack had faced doubt before. He had been the outsider before, and just like always, he kept moving forward. Debate after debate, rally after rally, his voice grew louder. His words inspired millions. His belief in unity and change in a better future, it became contagious. And then the night came. Chicago. Grant Park, November 4th, 2008. The air was electric. The streets were packed with people from all walks of life, black, white, young, old, rich, poor, all standing together, waiting for the moment that would define a generation. The screen flickered. The numbers rolled in. And then it was official. Barack Obama had just been elected as the 44th President of the United States. Tears streamed down faces. Strangers embraced. History had been rewritten. As Barack stood on that stage, looking over the sea of people, he took a deep breath. This wasn't just his victory. This was their victory. The victory of every child who had ever been told they weren't enough. Every dreamer who had ever been laughed at. Every voice that had ever been silenced. And then, with the weight of history on his shoulders, he spoke the words that would echo across time. Yes, we can. Want more powerful stories like this? Hit that subscribe button and join us for the next incredible journey. The next inspiring story is just around the corner.